Yeah, sorry. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, this is one more the interview of Bhakti Sangha newsletter for the month of May, and we are going to have with us. We are very fortunate actually to have with us His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji for giving very for sharing with us his experience about in Krishna consciousness. So before moving on to the interview, I would like to give a brief introduction about Prabhuji. His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Indradimna Swami Maharaj and an international speaker. He is associated with ISKCON for the last 24 years. He has a deep penchant in rendering lectures from the Vaishnava Vedic text. He is a public speaker on various topics of Sanatan Dharma through the lens of the disciplic succession of Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. He has delivered his lectures in English, Hindi, Tamil, and Malayalam across Dubai, Australia, USA, and India. He speaks extensively on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Valmiki Ramayana, and other Gaudiya literatures. He has a graduation degree in electronics and telecommunication and an MBA from Symbiosis. And I'm a great fan of Prabhuji's Ramayan lectures. So he's a very good Ram Katha Prabhuji, I can say. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time and association. And Prabhuji often gives his valuable time for us on Bhakti Sangha to give his lectures both on Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Bhagavat also. Welcome to the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna. And I would like to thank this opportunity given by Bhakti Sangha to be interacting here and sharing some of my realizations. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, let's start with your permission, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Definitely.
So,
please
Prabhuji, so share with us your experience in Krishna consciousness. So you have been for last 24 years. So how have you been introduced in this process of bhakti to ISKCON? And if you can share with us about your experience with the Maharajas who have whom you have met in ISKCON.
Okay. So before I start for my words to be instrumental, I'd like to just take permission from the Acharyas. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamine Vinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Mataji, your question was, how was my journey in Krishna consciousness and how did I meet the different elevated devotees in ISKCON, especially the sannyasis and my Guru Maharaj. So first and foremost, I don't think so that I'm a 24 years veteran in the movement. I still feel I'm yet to join and start my journey. But the journey has been very, very wonderful. In fact, I was born in a Sri Vaishnava family where devotion was always the center point in our family for generations. And we were, my father and mother were instrumental in teaching me and my brother a lot of aspects of Krishna consciousness. And it was one fine day that my father bought a car, and when he bought a second-hand car in Bombay, he asked us what's the best way to take a trip and test the car out. And we all said, let's go to Juhu Beach. And we all went to Juhu Beach, wetted our leg in the dirty waters of Juhu Beach. And by the time we came out, we lost our car, the first run, because somebody had flicked the car on the very first run. And then we got to know from the vendors that it was towed away by the police, by the Santa Cruz police. And we were wondering what to do. So my father said, "Why don't you hang around in the beach and we'll come after some time?" At that time, by the divine providence, I would say that an auto driver came that way and said, "Why would you stand on the beach? There's a beautiful temple nearby, and why don't you go there and spend your time and eat samosas and kachoris?" And flavored by that thought, we actually got into the auto and we were dropped at Sri Sri Radha Ras Bihariji temple. And when we stepped inside, it was 6:58. I still remember that day when I was in seventh standard. I stepped inside. 6:58, there was a load shedding current cut in those days in 92, 93. So the electricity was switched off. 6:58, we were shoved in the temple and we saw all the lights switched off and the three doors opened. And three big devotees came and blew their conch shells. And everybody around me started dancing. And when the curtains opened, all I could see was Gornathai. And I didn't know what to do. My mother was on one side, my cousins were on the other side, I was on the Prabhuji's side. And I asked the brahmachari, "What am I supposed to do?" He said, "Just dance." So that was my first interaction with the Lordships, that I started dancing in front of the altar. And I still feel I'm practicing that dance for the last 24 years. Radha Ras Bihari was so merciful. He took me under the grasp and he introduced me to this beautiful movement of Krishna consciousness. So I consider Shri Shri Gaur Nitai of Juhu as one of my prime reasons for me to still be attracted to the holy name and to the devotees. How I met different sannyasis. It was after a long time in Bombay. I had to move back to Trivandrum, where I was engaging service in another beautiful deity of Padmanabha. When one day I heard that His Holiness Jayapataka Swami is visiting Coimbatore. So I had the distinct opportunity to go to Coimbatore and interact. He was the very first sannyasi disciple of Srila Prabhupada whom I ever met. And it was so wonderful that in the Coimbatore Rath Yatra, he was so jovial. He had this big wampus and he was banging those wampus and singing on top of his voice. And I was just interested and totally mesmerized by his aura. So he came and he played the wampur with a loud bang just next to my ears. And he said, "Chant and also dance." And then I started, when he started dancing, he had the beautiful mercy of back in those days. He used to just hold hands like this with any random devotee, and he used to do the whirl. This is the first sannyasi whom I met, and I found him to be super cool. He held my hands, and we did whirls for at least 20, 25 times. I do not know what
What was the
happened.
age at that time, Prabhuji?
I was in my 10th grade at that time, about around 17 or 18. And here I was taking a whirl with me out of the millions of devotees who had come, an absolute neophyte. And I felt that in that whirl, which I took with His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, which he was extremely merciful unto me, I felt that I have taken such births and deaths millions and millions of times. And each one of them was just cut down and down and down and down and down. And when he left, it was much, much blissful. I kept his association. Still, he is my greatest source of inspiration. And one day I prayed to him that I get my spiritual master. I prayed to Pankajangri Prabhu also. And they showed me my spiritual master, His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj. And that is how I met various different devotees, Mataji.
It was such a nice experience, Prabhuji. So very nice to hear. This is goosebumps are coming, I can say. So very nice. Thank you so much for sharing that. So Prabhuji, which congregation you belong to, and what are the services you do in your congregation, Prabhuji?
So for the last 23 years, I was attached to, first part where I was attached to Juhu, ISKCON Juhu, where I used to handle in IYF a lot of preaching under His Grace Gokuleshwar Prabhu. and we used to do book distribution, youth activities, until the Kargar temple came up, where I used to handle a small congregation in the slums of Bombay, which is called as Cheetah Camp. So for 19 years, I was preaching in Cheetah Camp for the different devotees in the lower rungs of the society, teaching them Krishna consciousness. Post which I've come to Dubai now in Damodar Desh. Devotees have been kind enough to welcome me and give them services of handling congregational devotees and young students and others, to guide them in Krishna consciousness through lectures and Bhagavad Gita teachings. So current services include preaching, as well as also taking part in some of the initiatives of GBC, such as consulting groups for ISKCON and etc., through Damodar Desh, which is ISKCON Dubai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. That is very wonderful hearing so many services you do. So I once again thank for giving your association for such a fallen soul like us, like me, I can say. So now I am on the call, so I can say it's for me. So Prabhuji, I just want to know, like, in fact, many of us here, we want to know, like, how you do your sadhana consistently daily, and what motivates you to do your sadhana, and what will be your advice for the neophytes to do your sadhana. Because we can see, like, neophytes, when they come, like maybe like in 1 year or 2 years also, they feel like, okay, now I should chant, and now I should do this. So like that, they feel some lazy kindness, lazy things, right? So when they say, like, if you ask me, like 2 days before, when Mataji was saying me, like, I cannot do my rounds completely at a stretch. Then I told her, like, in parts you can do, but still she was saying that I get headache. So then, so like that, so what can you advise for them?
First of all, I think that I'm also a fallen soul. I'm also practicing, trying to practice, not even practicing. Second, I would like to echo the sentiments of some of the speakers who have spoken here, like Adigadadar Prabhu and His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhu, who is one of my greatest sources of inspiration. He was my Shiksha Guru for more than 16, 17 years. And so following in their footsteps, are always, they have inculcated this mood that we are always serving and not in a capability of advice. So to answer your query, how do I practice? I still am a struggler, to be very honest. I struggle with my mind, with my body, and try to struggle with my consistency. But it's the mercy of the devotees which keeps me going. But practically, if you ask me, there are times when it's very difficult to have put a practice in place, because at the age, different ages have different capabilities. Like when you're a teenager, you have the interest to study, and there is always those thoughts which will take the precedence. When you be in 20s, you want to find a job. When you're in 30s, your family takes precedence. So always there will be some part of life which will take precedence. But if we can carve out some time early in the morning, practically what I try to do is to chant early in the morning, at least half of my rounds before I go to office, and rest of the half I find when I immediately come back from office. Um, but what keeps me motivated to chant than some of the examples that you mentioned, some people feel that less motivated, is, I would like to quote what Adi Gadadhar Prabhu mentioned the other day. I found it very interesting. He mentioned that one has to know the result of chanting. One has to understand, what do we get by constantly engaging in chanting. If we understand the Mahatma, the Mahatmya, then we get more interested to come to chant, to come to practice. So the Mahatmya comes by reading, and it's something that I have picked up by the grace of my Guru Maharaj, to extensively read, and that gives me higher motivations to chant. The more we read, the more we get interested to chant. The more we read realizations of devotees, we feel, oh, one day I have to also reach there. One day maybe I can get a drop of her. That interest, when it gets cultivated, when it becomes a snowball in the heart, that's when a person really will stick to it. And even if the person deters a little bit, one day he chants less or more, of course, we should try chanting 16 rounds. But due to some reasons, if somebody skips a round as well, the next day he will make it up. And so there are inconsistent days, there are very consistent days, there are blissful days, there are non-blissful days, but the effort is the same. So that's what we have to ensure, that we should not be so bogged down by our misses that we do not celebrate the victories. That is my motivation always, that tomorrow is a new day and we begin and we try our level best. And that's why we are sadhakas. We're trying, we're trying, we're trying, we try. So that should be our motivation. And for that, we should read scriptures.
Very well. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So maybe the neophytes who are watching will be helpful for them. So my next question is like, we have so many youths, right, in ISKCON also, but maybe the parents are devotees, but the youths are not interested. So what your advice would be to bring them in this forum? And it's not that we cannot force them also, right? So then how, in what ways they can be pulled into this? Or in what ways we can motivate them?
Yeah, this is actually a very nice question, Mataji. Very, very pertinent question in ISKCON as on day today. Because if we see that many devotees, when they have devotee children, there is a tremendous pressure on devotee parents to showcase them that they are devotee children. In a sense, the pressure is not on the devotee child. The pressure is to tell the society that I have raised my child properly, as if it is a certificate to say that my child is a devotee. And now we have so many devotee couples that it becomes a competition, that whose devotee child is better than the other devotee child. So this competition actually kills the very natural behavior of the child. He cannot express, she cannot express. He or she is on a constant comparative mode of comparison between other devotees. So much so that in one family, I found out that the major reason of the child or the young children not being Krishna consciousness is Krishna. Because he said, my parents love Krishna
Sorry,
so much.
Prabhuji, I didn't get that. Can you come again? What is that?
So the child actually said that the major reason why I am not Krishna conscious is Krishna, is because of Krishna. Because my parents love Krishna so much, they don't love me. Every time, everything is for Krishna and they don't love me. But that is not what Srila Prabhupada taught us. Srila Prabhupada taught that our family members are part and parcel of Krishna. We have to give practical love, care, attention to Krishna, Krishna's devotees, to children. We cannot be always carrying a cane in the hand and say, this is Maya, this is spiritual, this is Maya. This is... We did not come to Krishna conscious like that. One of, not my advice, my request, my sincere plea would be that best way to bring up children, best way to show the youngsters is to show by example. And also understanding the natural courses of life. A teenager will be attracted to the opposite sex. A boy or a girl at the age of 24, 25 will be interested in earning money and enjoying life. In those phases, also one has to not forget Krishna. That is all the education that we need to give. So, lot of parents today fear that if one mistake happens by the child, they will fall into Maya and everything will be lost, because such examples in the Shastras are exemplified at that point of time. I think sometimes parents need to take a little chill pill and understand the natural courses of life, the Vegas, and they have to nurture the right education through their examples. I think that they have to shower more love and care to the new devotees, and then to the new neophytes. I feel that um, be patient. Krishna conscious is a long game. It is not won or lost at the throw of the first dice. So one has to wait long. Be patient.
Hare Krishna. So that's really very difficult task to bring up these youths. So
Mm.
Prabhuji, you were mentioning, but that by setting examples we can make them. So examples in the sense, like you are saying, the parents who are devotees, they have to be very tolerant, and they have to act in a way that they can serve the family, and that they can balance the material and spiritual life. So like that, they have to set the example. That's what you meant, right?
Correct. If they have grandfathers, for example, the parents have their father and mother, if the way they act with their parents will be the way the children will see them as the gold standard to act. If
Mm.
sometimes the parents feel that we have to be Krishna conscious, and even if the grandparents are not Krishna conscious, they will act to them differently, but that sends a wrong message, right? Elders have to be respected, elders have to be given love and care, but I'm not saying that all elders talks have to be agreed upon. You can say okay, okay, and you can go on carrying your Krishna conscious, but respect has to be there. So once that
Mm.
respect is seen, that love is seen, the child will never understand that Krishna consciousness is a separator. He will see Krishna consciousness as a medium of falling back during reversals, as a medium for always, as a supporter in his life, as a medium of help in his life, his or her life. So that is what I was mentioning, that sometimes the parents have to be the perfect examples for the new generation to pick it up.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. That will be very helpful for the parents,
Yeah.
so including me also.
Mm.
So, Prabhuji, and my next question is like about your daily sadhana. How do you make it? Yeah, you mentioned earlier, but still, can you come again with a more insight in that? And also, I want to know, like, we want to know, like, about your favorite shastras in
Mm.
ISKCON
Okay.
or anywhere else. What is your favorite shastras, and why do you get impressed? How did you get impressed, and what makes you to read it again and again?
Okay. So daily sadhana is very simple. Early morning, it's what Prabhupada's standard is. Wake up by, if you are at home, you wake up by at least 5 a.m. in the morning, take your cold shower bath, and try to sit and chant for good 1.5 hours. 2 hours are enough to finish your rounds. And then I engage in deity worship, worshipping my Saligram Shilas and worshipping my deities, Gaurnitai. And then I go to office. One of my most, lovable, cherishable moment um, of my day is when I wear my tilak. That is my most cherishable moment. That is my most inspiring moment. And simple things in Krishna consciousness are very wonderful. Early morning, seeing the sun. Early morning, seeing the sun and remembering Krishna. Early morning, touching the mud of tulsi, smelling the tulsi leaves. These are the very inspiring things which actually keep me motivated. And for me, the most blissful moment of the day is when I'm wearing tilak. I like to say all the names of the Lord, and I like to say, because right from childhood I used to see my father take time to wear his Sri Vaishnava tilak, and this Urdhava Pundra is so close to my heart that when I wear the Gaudiya tilak, I feel very close to Srila Prabhupada and everybody to give me this opportunity. So that's my inspiration. My inspiration in Shastras, specifically Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, I love Chaitanya Charitamrita as well because of the beautiful Bengali um, slokas, and you can constantly hear them and sing them. But I'm more attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam because the depths and the sub layers of Srimad Bhagavatam is so wonderful that it attracts me again and again. And similarly is Valmiki Ramayana. It's very close to my heart. So Lord Ramchandra and these pastimes are very close because I feel that I'm like a monkey in this world and only he can give me some shelter to be engaged in his service. So Valmiki has written so beautifully these shlokas that Bhagavatam and Ramayana are very close to me along with Chaitanya Charitamrita. And you asked which one I would like to go back and read again and again.
Read again.
Actually, Mataji, I just feel that I one lifetime is not enough to finish one book and one verse. That's my more I read, I feel that one verse, Krishna's stories are really, really Krishna's leelas and glories are so much that every book I pick, I feel like to read it again and again. Of course, they have to be bhakti literatures written by our acharyas.
Hari bol. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Initially, you were saying about wearing tilak. I was thinking about myself. So I just, Hari Bari, I just wear it and I just go off. So it's like that. So, but how much love you are showing in wearing tilak, that is really a very good inspiration, Prabhuji. So my next question is, you have time, Prabhuji?
Yes.
So my next question is like about the devotees in ISKCON, like how the devotees can stay together in ISKCON. Like we can find that there are some ups and downs, right? So and also in the congregation, how will you think that the devotees in congregation can be together?
Yes, this is a very nice question because finally we are community. We have to by a very simple two principles that I try to follow. One is to forget mannerisms. There are a lot of people who are hung up on mannerisms. The manner, the way one speaks, manner, the way one hosts a program, the mannerism that one has while conducting a Bhagavad Gita lecture, the mannerisms that one may show in the temple. Of course, some mannerisms have to be in the Vaishnava ambit of things, but some individual mannerisms, some people get very hung up with. They feel that, they feel their mannerisms are superior than the others. A person should not speak to me like this. A person should act in certain way. So these mannerisms become the first point of clashes in the community.
So Prabhuji, this is because of the false ego in them. They are having.
Correct. Because they feel subtly that the way they speak, the way they organize, the way they like to do things are the better way than the others. This is a subtle false ego which acts, where one's mannerisms are constantly seen and mentally thought that, oh, this is not nice. So if somebody can be very thoughtful and introspective about conclusions made on mannerisms, then that could be eliminated. Then the community will be better. Second, I would say is to not speak ill of other devotees or propagate falsities about other devotees. By following these two and seeing everybody who comes to the temple or community has something to offer to Krishna, either singing or he has used his two legs, intelligence, his body, his eyes, his senses to come to the program or to come in association with devotees. So Krishna has brought that person. It's as if we don't see Krishna, we only see the person. But if you actually see, it's Krishna holding his hand and coming to you. If you see Krishna and that person, you will never act in that way. So if you see Krishna in everybody, that Krishna is hand holding everybody and sending, then the community can be together. Just like your photo, Mataji, in behind. Krishna is there in the center and everybody is together. So Krishna is our essence. He holds his hands and everybody is together.
Very, very nice thought, Prabhuji. So much inspiration. So nice, inspired answer, I can say. Yeah. So in the Mataji is also saying so well said. So Prabhuji, so next question is like, in Bhakti Sangha, no, before that, I would like to ask, who is your inspiration in ISKCON?
Okay,
And
the lists are quite long, but
and one more one more WH question also. Why
yeah,
why
why?
is
Okay.
he your inspiration?
First and foremost, my first inspiration is uh, is my parents. Uh, my parents are the ones who instilled the bhakti in my heart, and they are still my first person to go to. They are my spiritual father, especially, as well as my father and mother. Both are so devout that they till date, my mother has finished more than reading 12 to 13 times Srimad Bhagavatam of Prabhupada. She reads every time I go back home to Kerala. She's always reading Srila Prabhupada's books. My father reads Prabhupada's books, and they chant both the Sri Vaishnava mantras as well as 16 rounds of Hare Krishna. So I can't really thank enough Krishna's blessings to give me such parents. More than my parents, so I'm going from the bottom order to the top. More than my parents is my elder brother, His Grace Achintya Gopesh Prabhu. He has been constant inspiration in my life, and I have two brothers. One is Achintya Gopesh Prabhu, and the other is my spiritual brother, His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhu, who always is. Then he was my neighbor for last 20 years, and we used to stay very close to each other. So they both are my inspirations. Above that, I would say His Grace Gokuleshwar Prabhu, who was who is currently the vice president of Juhu, and he's also the Sankirtan leader. His Bhagavatam classes are the ones which got me more interested. And of course, my spiritual master, His Holiness Indradimna Swami Maharaj. And in the same vein, two other devotees, and none other than His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj and His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu. These are the ones more inspiring. In my age, I look up to Hari Parshad Prabhu for his Shastric knowledge, and as a Rasik devotee. I feel that one day, even if I get a drop of devotion like His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu, my life would be successful. So these are some of my inspiring people whom I get to. And anybody who is wearing a tilak is very inspiring to me. And
Haribo.
Vaishnavis as well. I want to not be very gender specific. I really love the lectures of Her Grace Devaki Mataji, and her inspirations to conduct Ekachakra Japa retreats and books about false ego are very, very close to my heart. So she's a very instrumental preacher, and that's very close to my heart.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So many inspirations you have said. So very nice to hear, Prabhuji. So this will be my last question, probably. So we have so many programs on Bhakti Sangha, right? What
Yeah.
inspired you in Bhakti Sangha to come into our Bhakti Sangha, and what program do you like in Bhakti Sangha? And also, do you have any suggestions for us to improve the forum?
Oh. So first and foremost, I think I am more of a participant in Bhakti Sangha, and there are many others who can give brilliant suggestions. I would say this is an excellent forum of devotees coming and congregating every day. It's a full-fledged program. It's a full-fledged temple program. And in our temples, we have Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, but here it's for all age groups and everybody. This is excellent, excellent way of preaching. My suggestion, if it is can be seen as a suggestion, would be that um, to really have some katha and others which is focused on a topic. In fact, you guys do all of those. In fact, I can't think of what many suggestions you do all of those, but I would, it's specific, if you ask me if there are any suggestions that I would like to give for Bhakti Sangha on top of my mind, I can think of is if people can write more, um, as Bhakti Sangha literature can be produced. In the sense, newsletter is a great way. It's a 4-page newsletter. You can invite articles also from the speakers to write on the topic, because there are sometimes that we would like to say something, but we would not find the time within the lecture. So if you can invite articles from the speakers also, so then it would be very nice to contribute, and they could take a particular topic for the month. This is one. Second suggestion I would like to place is, in Bhakti Sangha Japa group is the best place to do this. I always wanted to do this, that in a year, by the Julian calendar, if you go from January to December, every day there is a Vaishnava festival, right? So there is a Vaishnava festival on say Tulsi Saligram Puja, or there is Ramananda Rai's appearance, or there are some days which we celebrate in pomp and glory. There are some days which are very muted in terms of the Acharya's appearance or somebody's appearance. In fact, Bhakti Sangha, if they would create a repository of all the Vaishnava Tithis that come from January 1st to December 31st, lectures or glorification by different speakers. So it will become the first catalog in ISKCON, apart from written literature, an audio set of literatures which is glorifying every Vaishnav Tithi in the calendar. Be it Ganesh Puja, be it Durga Puja, be it, we can connect all those Tithis to Krishna consciousness. So just like a flipping calendar, it will become the flipping audio source for every day. So today we find that it is Madhvacharya's appearance. We have at least 4 lectures which have been taken in Bhakti Sangha Japa group, where speakers have spoken. So it's a playlist creation of your audio and video lectures as per calendar dates for the year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very nice suggestion, Prabhuji. So I just liked the article which you were saying, and that every speaker has to write. Yeah, so that is very nice. We can do like that also. So hopefully our team will look after that. So thank you so much for your suggestion, Prabhuji. And uh, I'm sorry, I said that was the last question. So can I ask one more? Add up one more?
Sure, Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, how do you make a person who is non-devotee, like how he can be, how you will ask him to come into this movement? What will be how will be your approach be?
By giving 2 years.
Sorry?
That is, by giving our 2 years, a person will not feel Krishna in the heart until the dirtiness of the heart is emptied. Most of the times, people do not, those who are adults, I'm saying, children, it is easy. You can tell them katha stories, invest and pour that Krishna consciousness in the heart right from the young. Those who are adults, those who are 20s, 30s, they already have so much of strife, questions, others. So before we try to fill Krishna, let us fill our ears with their filth first. In the sense that we have to hear all their issues. Sometimes we have to spend gallons of blood just to hear, just to hear what they are trying to say. And it might be all nonsense. But when they speak first time, second time, third time, fourth time, and when it is empty, that's when we have to start to fill. So to get one person into Krishna consciousness, one should know the right way of speaking, right mode of preaching, which is not very renunciant mode. It's more of a more merciful mode, more loving. We are giving Krishna, who is Prem Madhuri, right? Who has full love in his heart. We are giving somebody Krishna, so we have to also give it with love, and we have to be tolerant. So this 4 principles, without having any name, fame, adorations, just thinking that I am taking somebody to my boss, who is all loving. That should be our mood. If we have these 4 modes, And when we speak to the person, please don't speak to the face of the person. Always, at least this is what I follow. I always meditate that Paramatma who is sitting in the heart. I'm saying this. Please make him listen. Make him listen. So you speak to the Lord sitting in the heart to enable for him to open up his senses and listen. 99% it works. So we are not bringing anybody to Krishna consciousness. We are repeating a message like a parrot. We are just increasing the volume of the speaker, of the Paramatma sitting in his heart. In fact, we cannot even increase the volume. We are just requesting Paramatma to increase the volume in his heart and hear the message which is given by acharyas. So we are nothing. But we have to do this perfectly. That's a service.
Wow, that's really very wonderful, Prabhuji. Just look into the heart and speak.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your such an insightful interviews. I should say my I can say my koti dandavats to you. So for giving your valuable time and association, and very inspired interview, Prabhuji. So thank you so much for coming up on the call and tolerating us.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much for this opportunity. All glories to the Gaura Bhakta Vrinda and all glories to Bhakti Sangha Japa group participants, organizers, children, and everybody who is associated with the program. Thank you, Mataji, for taking out time and tolerating
Hare
my
Krishna.
answers. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatripasya